going down right now and continuing to stream units in right now. Does not even have a forge for upgrades or anything like that, so he is very, very much committing himself to this offensive for the time being, and the Zerg player is stuck in his base just playing the defensive. So going to try to hold on here. There is another attack coming on right now, and there are a decent amount of Hydralisks here, but there are more and more Protoss units continuing to stream up to this base. A lot of those Zealots getting picked off by the Hydralisks, but there are a large amount of Stalkers in the mix here as more Hydralisks come and join the fray right now. This is going to be a very close battle, and the Queen's actually getting in the mix too. One Queen goes down, but a lot of these Stalkers are getting beat up pretty badly here, and all the sentries are gone as well. Only 4 Stalkers remain, and it looks like the Zerg players once again going to be able to hold this off. So Darkn3ss for SC2 Armory definitely representing for his community right now, and it looks like there are some more Zerglings coming out. They're going to take out this proxy pylon from KillerPlague, which is very, very good news for him, because if the Protoss player was able to warp units in right in the front of his base, it would allow him to reinforce that position much, much quicker. Although looking at the income overlay here, you can see that the Zerg player does not have as much of an advantage as he was starting to gain there, simply because he had to use some of his drones to build spine crawlers, and it looks like he has not yet reproduced all those drones yet, although he does have 6 drones on his 2 extra extractors at the expansion here. But it looks like the Protoss player KillerPlague is getting up his expansion up, going for the natural right next to his base, so nobody at this point going for any kind of silly strategies where they try to get some kind of a hidden expansion. We have seen a couple games with that already, and it has been very, very effective for the most part, which if you can get that hidden expansion up on a 4-player map like this against somebody who does not constantly scout the map, it can be absolutely deadly, because obviously if you have it up and running for any period of time, the person you are playing against just assumes that they are ahead, when in fact they can fall behind very, very quickly if you have an expansion that they are not aware of. And the name of the game in StarCraft and StarCraft 2 has always been getting that econ lead, and if you can manage to get a lead, whether it's through doing some kind of a cheese rush strategy, out expanding your opponent, or just managing to outmaneuver them, that is how you win games. But it looks like the Protoss player KillerPlague is going to move out and take down the destructible rocks at the high yield expansion next to his natural base here, so he is going to be expanding over there relatively soon, I would think. But there is an overlord for Darkn3ss overhead at this natural expansion, so he is aware of this nexus, although it looks like he does not see the units over at this high yield base, and he is not aware that these destructible rocks are gone yet. So it doesn't look like he is going to be aware for the time being what KillerPlague is up to, although I gotta imagine that KillerPlague is going to want to get this expansion up and running and fortified before he tries to expand over to the gold as well. It looks like the Zerg player is getting ready to put down another base over here on the bottom half of the map, going for the natural expansion for the 6 o'clock position, so we'll see if he's able to hold on to that to continue to maintain this lead. And as you can see, that lead is definitely starting to pick up a little bit more now, although it is going to level out a little bit once again, because the Protoss player getting his expansion up just in the nick of time, although he has been down by a couple hundred resources per minute pretty much the whole game, because the Zerg player went for that fast expand, and the Protoss player KillerPlague just did not do enough damage with his offensive, although it looks like he once again is massing up a decent amount of units. But as you can see, no upgrades at all across the board, no upgrades for offense, defense, or shields. The Zerg player does not have anything upgraded for his ranged units and does not have anything upgraded for his melee units, so both players right now actually playing a 0 upgrade game, although it looks like they do have the speed upgrade for the Zerglings, and there are a couple corruptors out here on the map. I'm not sure if he's going to try to go for Broodlords. He does not yet have the Hive tech, and I don't see an Infestor pit anywhere on the map, so maybe he's just getting those Infestors as an insurance policy, possibly against any Colossi that may be out on the map, although right now you can see that there aren't any Colossi on the map. So it looks like the Protoss player just continuing to stick with this Sentry Stalker Zealot combination, which can be very powerful, but against a large amount of Hydras, it is definitely imperative to get some Colossi in the mix, as well as some Immortals possibly. So we'll see if he's able to do anything with that. It looks like there is one Colossi coming out of the robotics facility right now, and the robotics bay does not yet have the thermal lance upgrade going to extend the Colossus range, but I gotta think that that's going to be coming out here soon. And it looks like Darkn3ss rather, is going to be taking down the destructible rocks at his own high yield base. So both players trying to just macro up right now, it looks like, and these corruptors will be put to good use against those Colossi. So we'll see exactly how that plays out here in a little bit. Colossi can be very devastating against Hydralisks, Zerglings, and Roaches, but if they have corruptors overhead to pick those Colossi off before they're able to do too much damage, sometimes the Zerg players can very quickly negate the factor of the Colossi on the map. But looking at the unit overlay here, we do see that there is an 8 drone advantage for the Zerg player Darkn3ss right now. over the Protoss player who only has 40 probes. But looking at the number of units in the army here, we do see 16 Zealots, 1 Colossus, 12 Stalkers, and 7 Sentries. And this is going up against 11 Zerglings, 31 Hydralisks, and 9 Corruptors. Now, it looks like this 1 Colossus is moving out on the map, and if we look at the production overlay here, we can see that the range upgrade is working right now, and there are some more Hydralisks coming out on the map. But it looks like the Protoss player is going to move back into his base and try to play defensively for the time being, although it looks like his army a little bit out of position. As you can see, moving his Zealots into the front here, you definitely want to have those Zealots as a meat shield in front of your ranged units, such as these Stalkers, Sentries, and Colossi. But it looks like he is going to, the Zerg player is going to post up outside of the Protoss player's base right now for at least a little bit here and try to keep him inside his base, keep him from expanding anymore. But the Protoss player, KillerPlague, moving out there, forcing Darkn3ss to back off just a little bit so that he has a little bit of room to breathe here with his units as he continues to try to macro up enough to hold this base. And it looks like there is another Colossi. The extended thermal lance upgrade is about 90% done, so we should see that coming online here very soon. And Darkn3ss has managed to get a lot of drones over to the expansion down here at the bottom of the map, and he is taking another base as well. And it looks like the Zerg player is going to move in here. No, he's backing off now as the Protoss player moves out. And it looks like the Corruptor is moving forward now, going to try to snipe that Colossi as the rest of the Zerg army moves in. And the Colossi very low on health, almost down, and the Colossus does get focus fire down. There's a lot of Hydralisks here taking on this Zealot, Stalker, and Sentry army, and they are going to have to back up. This is a very bad position for the Protoss player to be in. He is getting very overwhelmed by the amount of Hydralisks that are in this map right now. Some great force fields going down to block half of the Hydralisks from getting into the fray here, but I just think there are too many for the Protoss player to deal with right now, and he is going to GG. So game number 1 of this best of 3 series is going to go to Darkn3ss right now, and SC2 Armory is shaping up right now to sweep this entire exhibition match in round 1, as we have won the first 3 games, and I say we because I am actually a part of the SC2 Armory community site myself, so I'm definitely rooting for those guys. But we have won the first 3 games, or the first 3 matchups rather, in the series, and Darkn3ss taking down this first game right now. So we're going to move on to game 2 and see if he can take it out 2-0. GG.